Let us listen to our speakers today as we focus exclusively on SDG9, build resilient infrastructure, promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization, and foster innovation, and how SMEs can contribute towards achieving this global goal by 2030. To start with, we have a very special person with us today for her keynote address. We have with us Ms. Jeanette Uddoh, who is the head of innovation at Access Bank, the largest bank in Nigeria and Africa's leading bank by customer base and branch network. She is a self-driven, result-oriented, problem-solving, and high-achieving innovation leader. She possesses a wealth of experience ranging from innovation, analytics, banking operations, optimization, and process improvement. Charged with leading the company's innovation journey and creating an innovative culture, her current role has seen her catalyze innovative changes and apply design thinking methodologies in bank-wide innovation projects she has led, both incremental and disruptive. Passionate about African women in innovation, in her spare time, she volunteers as a chief strategist founder, Africa Rising Women in Innovation, a community of innovators championing the cause of new African and African women in innovation. The community was founded in response to the gender and diversity gap in innovation. A UN speaker, Harvard and MIT alumna, Jeanette is an international award-winning innovator. She is Innovation Leader's Most Valuable Player, Impact Awards 2020 winner, and the only African and Nigerian to win the award since its inception. Let me proudly invite Ms. Jeanette Uddoh for her keynote address. Over to you, Ms. Jeanette.
Thank you, Apana. Thank you so much for the introduction. I'm really wowed by that. Thank you so much. And I'm so excited to be here. I really appreciate the entire team at Global Council for the Promotion of International Trade for setting this. Sustainability and sustainable innovation are topics I'm really, really excited about. Like Apana just mentioned, I founded Africa Rising Women in Innovation in response to the gender and the diversity gap in innovation. And we are really proud of that community, of what women are achieving, and I'm so passionate about sustainability and innovation, and that's inspired me to found the community. Now we are here for SDG9, and SDG9 is industries, innovation, and infrastructure. And you'll well agree with me that sustainability is a very huge topic in our community, not just in Africa or in Asia, but the entire world at large. And for us to unleash dynamic and competitive economic forces that generate employment and income, we have to start thinking about inclusive and sustainable industrialization. I was at a roundtable recently of innovation leaders where we dissected the fact that conscious consumers have become prevalent in our times. So consumers are becoming aware of what products you are dishing out to them. When it comes to fashion, sustainable fashion is on the increase, beauty as well. We hear of things like clean tech, clean energy, green economy, like Apana just mentioned. And we should agree that the world still has a long way to go to fully tap this potential. And coming to the least developed continents and the emerging economies as well, there is need to accelerate the development of the manufacturing sector. The pandemic was a real eye-opener and a lesson to all of us. And if we are to meet the target of 2030, we need to really scale up investment in scientific research and innovation. And with global manufacturing growth, it's on the decline. But I mean, with the pandemic, we saw how digitization became very rampant, especially with women driving small businesses starting from home during the work from home period. And even that was even before the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. And the pandemic really hit manufacturing industries. We saw industries pivoting to manufacture hand sanitizers, facial masks, and generally causing disruptions in global value chains and supply of products. And for us to find lasting solutions to both economic and environmental challenges, we really need to improve on our research and innovation. From Africa, like Apana just introduced, I'm based in Lagos, Nigeria, and research is something that we are still lagging behind on when compared to the Western world. And with research, we saw how with research, the vaccines, I mean, they were ready like in less than a year. That is the benefit of research. That is the benefit of sustainability. And we have to understand that also in terms of communication infrastructure as well, there is an increase in the world's population in that regard, but in some other countries where data is prevalent. However, the cost of data is still on the high side. And these are conversations we should be having so that businesses can scale with data. Businesses can digitalize more with available data. And the coronavirus pandemic, has revealed the urgent need for resilient infrastructure. And when I say resilient infrastructure, I mean that there has to be that rapid economic growth and development in the region over the past decade, right? And even beyond that and in the future. We need to also understand that resilient infrastructure means that we should have processes in place, right? We should have challenges that we have solutions we can provide for them. And for the information and communication technologies, they've been on the front lines of the COVID-19 response. And it's, like I said earlier, it accelerated the digitalization of businesses. We are on Airmeet, that is digitization. Airmeet became prevalent, in the pandemic. Zoom as well. I remember initially, they couldn't even handle the influx of customers that they had. There was even like a crash on Zoom. And so many businesses that have come out of the pandemic due to digitalization. So we are getting there, but we still need to do more. There's still that call for action that if we need to attain the 2030 targets, we have to emphasize the need to extend the ladder to underrepresented communities, especially women. There should be more women at the round table. There should be more women creating their own tables as well, not just demanding seats at the table, but creating their own tables as well. We should have more women making decisions. We should have people living with disabilities making decisions, because when we have these kind of people, they can design products that are tuned to their own unique environment, right? So a woman can design a product that can speak to the women and make decisions just because she's at the table, and extend that as well to them. And we also need to understand that we have to remove unconscious bias as well. So when you might assume this is a woman's role, especially when it comes to tech, assume it's a man's role, sorry, especially when it comes to tech. There are women shattering the glass ceilings, right? There are women doing great things. There are women championing great innovations and championing great research as well. And so I'd like to leave us with the targets and have a call to action in that regard for 2030 when it comes to sustainability, infrastructure, and fostering innovation. Target 1 is that we should develop quality, reliable, sustainable, and resilient infrastructure, including regional and transborder infrastructure, to support economic development and human well-being, with a focus on affordable and equitable access for all. I mentioned this earlier. There has to be that equitable access for all. Underrepresented communities have to sit at the table as well. And we also need to promote inclusive and sustainable industrialization by 2030. And this would significantly raise industry's share of employment and gross domestic products in line with national circumstances, and double its share in least developed countries. We should also be aware that there is need to increase the access of small-scale industrial and other enterprises, in particular in developing countries, to financial services, including affordable credit and their integration into value chains and markets. I'm particularly excited about this because in Africa, there has been these huge funds raised by startups speaking to financial inclusion. We've heard of the Paystacks, the Flutter Waves. The Paystack was bought by Stripe for over $200 million. It tells you that millennials are doing a great in providing solutions for these sustainable challenges. And by 2030, we should also seek to upgrade infrastructure and retrofit industries to make them sustainable. So in whatever field you are, I am making this call that you should start thinking of sustainability, no matter the industry you are in. It could be banking, it could be fashion, it could be energy, whatever industry you are. It could be health as well. So it's a call to action for us all to think about sustainability with increased resource use efficiency and greater adoption of clean and environmentally sound technologies and industrial processes, and countries taking action in accordance with their respective capabilities. You might say you don't have a role to play. Maybe you're not in the government. You don't have to be in the government to be a change maker. We are all change makers here, both the speakers, the delegates, the organizers. We are all change makers, right? So in any little place or position you find yourself, make sure your voice is heard. And another call to action is that we should enhance scientific research. I'm a huge proponent and advocate of women in STEM, girls in STEM. There has been the systemic myths of women in STEM or cultural myths, but with awareness and people like us speaking out to that, we are breaking this gradually. I mean, according to the World Economic Forum report, we still have about 934 years in Africa to close the gender and diversity gap in technology. That's huge. But whatever contribution you can provide in your own little sphere, it is huge. Even if it's one soul or one person that has been impacted, it's a domino effect, right? It would extend to other people. And the next call to action is to facilitate sustainable and resilient infrastructure development in developing countries through enhanced financial, technological, and technical support to African countries, developing countries as well, and small island developing states. And the next one is we should support domestic technology development, research, and innovation in developing countries, including by ensuring a conducive policy environment for all, industrial diversification, and value addition to commodities. So as a woman, I find myself saying this for whatever platform I am on. If you're a woman in your field, learn to mentor other women that would get inspired by how you've been able to grow or progress in your field. It goes a long way to raise and empower women, right? And the last one is significantly increase access to information and communications technology and strive to provide universal and affordable access to the internet by 2030. And I'll leave us with these call to actions and targets by 2030. If there is anyone that speaks to you that you are most interested in, please start today to drive change in that regard. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Jeanette. Thank you for opening the summit today on such a powerful note. And as you said, we are all change makers and we are trying to make our voices heard. Thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you for all the support you have been extending to GCPIT.